मैं संपदा को एक्चुअली बचपन से जानता हूँ. हम सेम स्कूल में थे और सेम बस में जाते थे स्कूल. देन somehow से टेंथ के बाद, टेंथ में, ये 12th के बाद वी सॉर्ट ऑफ डाइवर्स. आई टुक इन मैं इंजीनियरिंग में चला गया, और राइट, और संपदा वेंट इनटू
I another branch. Yes.
या शी वाज 1 year ahead of me. मेरी सीनियर थी स्कूल
Yes.
में. और देन उसके बाद कैचअप नहीं हुआ बिल्कुल. फिर
बिल्कुल.
तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं. अभी 10, इट्स बीन लाइक 10 years already now, 9 years.
Yeah. Yeah. 10 to
So
11 years.
तो पहले थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन कर देते हैं थोड़ा कि तो what is it that you do, Sampada? I mean you are a doctor, yes. Like थोड़ा सा और बैकग्राउंड थोड़ा सा दे सकते हो तो बेटर है.
Okay, right now I'm pursuing my post-graduation, that is MS Masters of Surgery, General Surgery. And I've completed my undergraduation, that is MBBS from KM Hospital. Right now I'm doing MS Surgery in Nair Hospital. Both are in Mumbai. Both are Corporation Hospital in Mumbai.
ग्रेट. 24th March को लॉकडाउन अनाउंस किया गया था. तो थोड़ा fill me up on this, like where were you on that day and what was going on around, like उससे पहले क्या चल रहा था और उसके बाद से क्या होना शुरू हुआ?
So, as a resident, we already have quite a busy life. As in, to be honest, that was my first year of residency. Now I'm in second year of residency. So in first year, to be honest, you do not get time to even eat, sleep, or nothing. You're just working 24/7 in the wards. Sometimes you have to sleep in the side room of the ward and all that. So normal life was going on. That was our normal life. And suddenly this, I remember during, there was Holi, and which was a holiday in Maharashtra, and I think overall in India. And that time, this COVID-19 was a thing which, was introduced in Indian population, I would say. So everybody was kind of worried that what will happen post Holi, especially us, because there were still, there was still a group of population who was not aware of this situation. And we because this is like a communicable disease, it will just get aggravated if there are a couple of people meeting and gathering together and all. And so, but that time we were not sure how it spreads, because according to WHO that time, it was said that it's not transferred by aerosols. So wearing mask was not that a mandatory thing, which is now, right? So, and absolutely, we were all perplexed when it came to the protocols, because this was a novel disease. Of course, it has been mentioned in the textbooks, but nobody knew the details of this particular strand of the virus, which has been there all around us now. So when there was this lockdown, that time, I would say our workload initially was divided, because nobody wanted doctors to get exposed all at a time. So the workload was absolutely divided. So where we were working 3 people in like one zone, so one person was allotted for fixed hours of time, and then that person can come back so that other person catches up. So the exposure is not much. So initially it was like that. And even our faculty and even administration who were forming the task force, because we stay in Mumbai, and it being the most populated city, I would say Mumbai has more population than even few countries in the world.
ये तो है.
Yeah. So so everybody was preparing and trying to catch up with the protocols and the things which can be done, because eventually it will aggravate in Mumbai. Everybody knew the fact.
So this was ये उसी 24th March के दिन था जब टास्क फोर्स
Yeah, this was Yeah, and 24th को तभी सब कुछ बंद हो गया था. I think the trains had stopped. And तभी तो it was so strict that in fact the cases were very less that time. But it was so strict that there was security and all who was forcing people to stay inside and not go out. The shops and everything was shut. That one day I remember everything was absolutely shut. And within those 7 to 15 days, that is 2 weeks of time, our plan was noted down, jotted down, like how to go about it. So our hospital, Nair Hospital, was converted into a COVID facility in the month of April, mid-April. And that time, actually, the functional COVID hospital was Seven Hills Hospital. It is a private hospital, but BMC had taken over that hospital. So it was converted into a government hospital to just give free service to the people. And we, the residents. So I, being a surgery resident or any other field apart from medicine resident, we have all worked like a medicine resident since 3 months. And of course our academics have suffered and we did not do much of surgery or anything in 3 to 4 months. And we have really worked like a medicine resident. We were trained to work like a medicine resident. So I was initially posted in Seven Hills Hospital at Seven Hills. So till I think mid-May I was there. And then it so happened later on, after after this Nair Hospital was converted to COVID facility. So the residents were divided. So I think around we must be having around 200 residents. So out of which 30 residents were posted in Seven Hills. And similarly at KM Hospital and Sion Hospital also, half or fewer of their wards were converted into COVID facility. Not all the wards, because then otherwise sometimes patients are not COVID positive but they are to be treated. So there has to be some hospital who would provide them the facility. Some government hospitals. So of course you cannot convert all three academic institutions into a COVID facility. You have to divide it. So Sion hospitals had Sion Hospital had fewer wards and KM Hospital had fewer wards dedicated to COVID facility. And otherwise their non-COVID the thing treatment and all was functioning. And but elective work, that is only emergency work was going on. All the elective work was aborted of all these hospitals. And so initially our dean was also our dean sir was replaced. And there was a task force dedicated by BMC and municipal corporation here, for dedicated for COVID. And they had increased the number of beds. They had given us the protocol on how to work about it. So right from when patient comes and the status of the patient is not known, what to ask the patient, how to divide the patient, where to send, how to send the patient to the suspect ward, where to take the swab, everything was organized. And after that, when the swab comes positive from the patient who has been admitted in the suspect ward is sent to the positive ward. And this is how we started having lots and lots of admissions. And there's a point when there was no place, but there were n number of people who were getting admitted every day. So every day around like 200 to 300 admissions initially, or even more. And our hospital was that time, I think 700, 800 bedded, which eventually increased also. And there was a point in May, exactly. The May month was extremely busy. So our workload was divided like 6 hours per day. So 6 hours per day, but it depends. At Seven Hills, the timetable was like you have to work in the morning for 6 hours. If you have afternoon shift, it is 6 hours, but night shift used to be 12 hours. And whereas at Nair Hospital, it was always 6 hours. So the 24 hours were divided into 6 hours, and you were supposed to work, because when you work you have to wear the PPE.
PPE kit, yeah.
Yeah, personal protective kit. So PPE kit for entire 6 hours. So for entire 6 hours, you're not supposed to drink water, not supposed to go to washroom or do anything. And the summers in Mumbai are terrible. You will just sweat. You will normally sweat even if you wear a normal, cotton shirt or something. You will still sweat. So in PP, it was horrible. So by the end of 6 hours, all the residents, they are all dehydrated, and they are it is just that just don't fall off due to dehydration. So you just have to rush to your room and drink water. That is what, because 6 hours in PPE was like a torture. But yeah, so our hospital has always provided us with a lot of refreshments and lemonade and this and that. But of course, everything after you doff your PPE. And in all this, yes, many of my colleagues have reported positive also. Many of them have recovered and joined back to the duty. And I know few of my friends who have lost their near and dear ones as well. So this has all been a topsy-turvy journey in 4 months.
So
And I know people whose siblings and all have gotten married and they couldn't attend the ceremony because they were working, and all this. So everyone will have their own story about this.
so tell me about the about the 6 hours. Can you elaborate, like what was like the routine, like in May, on a particular day in May? What was the routine? You wake up, like what was the whole thing?
Okay, so our duty was, say, like 8 to 2 in the morning or 2 to 8 in the evening. So once so 8 o'clock you have to be in the ward. So basically you leave at 7:30 or 7. You take your PPE, you don it, because donning it and covering yourself up totally. So not even like an inch of your skin should be exposed. So with all that, it takes time. It takes at least 10 minutes to don properly and put the PP kit. And then you go to the ward at sharp 8. The first thing you do is take the over from the resident who was posted in the previous shift. So he or she will just give you a gist of how the patients are. Or sometimes, that person has to stay back for half an hour more, because sometimes the patients are in bad state. So the person who was, before us is not able to manage. So we have to help him out and he has to stay back. So imagine, so he has already done his night duty, which is either 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. or 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. So and he has to stay back. So it used to be very tedious for the person who posted at night. And yeah, so after you have settled the ward, first thing you do is go take rounds of all the patients to just make sure that patients are stable, or if someone is unstable, you just do patient management. And whatever steps or whatever treatment I as an individual am giving to the patient, I have to write it down in their file and inform my lecturers. So they will come for the morning rounds, say at around 10 a.m. or something, and I have to inform them about each and every patient individually, so that no patient is left unattended. So yeah, that was the thing. And in this I mean, yeah, there were people like us who are not medicine residents, but have to treat the patient as if we are. And initially, we were also perplexed with the protocol, but then it was really eased out with the help of our seniors, who really taught us quite well. And yeah, now I can confidently say that we are doing very good management in the wards. So yes.
So when you're doing your आप duty जब कर रहे हो सुबह 8 से 2, how do you handle the new patients, like जो admit हो रहे हैं उस समय? वो आप नहीं देखते, वो suspect ward में जाते हैं directly?
हाँ, पहले सस्पेक्ट वार्ड में जाते हैं. अगर उनके पास पॉजिटिव रिपोर्ट है, then they come up. So sometimes what happens is patients or people, they try to admit their dear ones in a private hospital. Of course,
Hmm.
I mean, that is a tendency, you know, ki, abhi someone related to me is there and I want him to get well soon. So I'll just give him the best of the hospital or something like that. And then they somehow are not happy with the treatment, or they somehow exhaust their resources, and then they just are like, no, we want to go back to the government hospital, or maybe that particular private hospital which is the nearest to their home, they don't have further facility.
Hmm.
Maybe it's a small setup or something, so they, in such situation, they get the patient to a government setup, and we are just informed on the phone. So it is like, even if one ward has one vacancy, immediately patient is transferred there, because otherwise hospitals function in a different way. Hospital functions like there are units which are divided into different days of the week, and that particular unit will have admission on that particular day. But in COVID it is not like that. Wherever there's space, there will be a admission. So, so it was not unit division. It was just all patients should be treated. So wherever, whichever ward has an empty bed, the patient will be admitted there. So yeah, so new patients used to come. Sometimes patients have come in a really bad state. So the first thing you check in any patient is whether there is oxygen requirement for the patient. So you try to secure the airway, the breathing of the patient. So that is the first thing. So normally it should be above 94% of saturation is what I'm talking about. And so I've had patients who were admitted, okay, with saturation of 60% and all. And they will just inform you because the ICU is so full that ICU has no place at all, and you have to manage the patient in the ward. So you try to put him on mask, oxygen mask, on an RBM mask, on nasal prongs, and ultimately you give him something called as non-invasive ventilation, which is like a ventilator, but you do not intubate the patient. That is, you do not put a tube
Oh.
inside the
Hmm.
patient. So you just have to put pressures from outside so that the breathing is maintained. But this is a temporary solution. If some patients really come up and improve on that, but if they don't, you do not have an option but to intubate a patient and put him on the actual ventilator, which is usually done in the ICU.
Oh.
So the ice, because see, honestly, we stay in India, even if so we cannot have like 600 bedded ICU or something in one hospital. It is not possible. We have some limitations. And that is the reason. So every time you have to transfer a patient, you have to call up and ask whether there's a place in ICU, any bad patient. If not, you have to keep on managing the patient. So your only goal is to keep him alive till he gets a better facility or gets a better. So, and some patients in this journey really improve, some patients give up. So that is the whole thing it is all about. And what happens in all this is, see, now if I have a ward of say 30 patients, which is usually, when I was at Seven Hills, I usually used to have 30 patients. I've had like 40 patients also in my ward. So single-handedly, you have to handle all these many patients. So even if one or two are in a bad state, so you are attending that patient, and the other, 29 patients are remaining. They are just unattended. So. They create a chaos in that situation, that doctor did not come only today, that you all don't care about us. They do not understand what is, like, see, how we work is we work according to priority of the patient. So patients whichever are in bad state and are salvageable, I'll go there first, and who are stable, that can be attended later. So this is one thing, you just not have to treat patients, but you have to deal with people.
Hmm.
And and I don't blame them, because it is like a man cage. So you are just trapped there inside a limited amount of space, because you're not supposed to go around anywhere. So you're just trapped there for, say, like 1 week or even more, or some patients have stayed for 15 days or even 1 month. So 1 month you are in the same place. So yeah, you naturally will get irritated. But you have to deal with all these things also. And different various age group people have been, I've had a baby of 1 year old also admitted in the same ward, and also like 83 years and 87 years old. So there's no limit to the age. So all this is like you're just giving a mass treatment because everybody is perplexed. Of course, we have the particular specialty people. If anything, see now, any surgical emergency is there, so we do attend in different wards. So at Seven
Mm-hmm.
Hills, if there was the on-call surgeon is not available, and my colleague has a surgical emergency in some other ward, like if the patient is having some bleed or something, so I have to go and attend and help that person out. So
Mm-hmm.
similarly, if I have a pediatric age group uh, kid or someone admitted and I have some issue, I can just call up a pediatrician friend and he or she can come and attend to that patient. So yeah, this is how mutually also we have worked. And so it was not just dealing with the patients physically, it was also psychologically to calm them down, to tell them that yeah, things are going to be all right. Just so you definitely require regular blood tests and regular swab tests to see how the patient is progressing, apart from of course clinical assessment. So patients, a few of them are very reluctant to give the blood on frequently, but you do at least
Mm-hmm.
you need 3 to 4 ml of blood is hardly which is taken for the investigation purpose and all. So
Mm-hmm.
they are quite reluctant, and the things they say are like रोज खून ले लेके तो मेरा सब खून खत्म हो गया है अभी. So and they will just complain and they are reluctant to even give that. And so you have to just go and tell them, no, it is not like that, it is just for test, I'll show you the reports. And we have also had such patients who are really old and have been left by their relatives, and the relatives just don't bother coming back. So
That's
they
right.
just leave the patient and go. So they won't bother checking on the patient, and it becomes very difficult for us to manage patient that way. So yeah, that's a really tough part. And also apart from the treatment, it has shown a different side of human also. Now there was this so we have many police officers getting admitted at Seven Hills as well,
Mm-hmm.
and even at Nair, yes, so many police officers, because of course they've also been working, they're also frontline, and so many of them have been positive till date. So I know there was a person who was admitted, and his usually the relatives, they get whatever they want to give the patient because they're not supposed to meet the patient directly. And so whatever they get, they give it to the at the entrance of the hospital. There are patient assistant who are just dedicated for this work. So they'll just get whatever the stuff is inside the ward and give it to the patient, and or give it to us so that we give it to the patient. So there was a letter for written by his kid for the person who was admitted. And this is not the first time, okay? So people do write letters, like kids do write, they write greeting cards for their parents or for their grandpa or grandma. And these people who are there inside, if they are well to do, they'll read it, otherwise they want us to read it for them. And you cannot help but shed tears while reading it. They're just like, I cannot wait to meet you, get well soon, you be strong, and this. And then they'll just draw Superman's photo on and stuff on it. And it is just, you have to like it, I have had shivers while telling it that you got a letter from your kid or something. That it is a happy moment, but it is really just takes you back. Yeah.
Okay, so आपने ventilators की बात की. So how was the quantity like for the ventilators? So बीच में news आ रही थी कि there's a deficiency of ventilators in some hospitals, and because I mean it may not be deficiency, but it may be deficiency relative to the number of patients that are coming in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
So,
So
that's what I told you, right? So we did not have enough ventilators. We do have a number of ventilators, but as you said, they're just not enough to the number of admission and number of people needing it. So that's why, of course, this non-invasive ventilation technique, which can be given in the wards, and there's no need to transfer the patient to the
Oh,
ICU.
okay.
So
Okay.
every ward, every normal ward will also have these things. At least in Nair, it is a very beautiful system. We have at least 2 to 4 such devices, so we can just attach it to people, and there's this another device which can be attached to 4 people at one time.
Oh,
So yeah, we do have such things. So very intelligently, there's this another option which was another treatment option which was inculcated immediately when this issue was addressed. So yes, but ultimately, if the patient is bad, you have to have ventilatory support for him, actual intubation. So sometimes it gets very difficult because you cannot just take off a ventilatory support of one patient and give it to another. You cannot do that. It is just not ethical. So you have to maintain a patient unless someone is off any ventilatory support, or someone, you just have to wait for a bed basically. So yeah, that was always there. But yes, we have had so many generous donations and so much support from BMC that we've always had another option, another better option, and stuff like that. Yeah.
okay. And about the treatment, so assuming कि कुछ patients आते हैं, they are asymptomatic but they tested positive, and some of them are symptomatic and tested positive, and so
Yeah.
like how do you like segregate and like treat them? What's the like treatment procedure?
So yes, so initially in the month of April, we were admitting everyone and anyone who has come positive.
Okay.
Be it symptomatic or asymptomatic, we were just admitting everyone who was positive. So later on in the month of May or mid-May, the protocols changed, and even now it is the same thing. So if you're positive and you're asymptomatic, you have a COVID care center
Oh,
where you can
okay.
go and you can go and get admitted there. But there you don't have facility like hospital. You're just kept under observation. You're given particular uh, you know oral medications just to recover fast. And if at all you develop, of course, where your oxygen saturation, breathing rate, respiratory rate and things are checked every now and then. And if at all any patient develops any symptom at any COVID care center, he is immediately transferred to the nearby hospital. So that is there. So COVID care centers have really helped us take care of the inflow we were, uncontrolled inflow which initially the hospitals were having. So all asymptomatic patients started going to the COVID care center, and now the protocol is like, if you are positive and you are asymptomatic, you can stay at home, you can self isolate yourself. If you have a separate room and separate bathroom, you should not come in contact with anyone at your home. You can, if you're absolutely asymptomatic and healthy, even if you develop like small amount of symptom, you can immediately come to the hospital, because eventually now the COVID care centers had also started getting full.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So then I think in June and later on, hospitals only started admitting patients who required hospital admission, because sometimes asymptomatic patient will just occupy a bed and someone who needs it the most may not get it. So it is wrong. So yeah, so then so we also learned things, and even protocols also were changed every now and then, of course for the betterment of the patient. And that was well managed later on. Yes.
Acha.
So only symptomatic patients with fever and cough and in a really bad state were getting admitted in the hospital, who really required hospital admissions. And well-to-do patients were sent immediately either to COVID care center or sent home if the swab is negative. Yeah.
ठीक है. तो about the testing kits, I also want to know कि do you think there were any false positives from the testing kits जिसमें लगे कि बहुत लोग positive आ रहे हैं, and like what was the
Okay.
quality of the testing kits?
I would really say, yeah, I would say there can be false negative.
Oh, acha.
And okay, so what is there is, so we have this swab technique,
Hmm.
and we also have rapid testing kits. But the swab technique is, you either take it, and as in both of these, you either take it from your oropharynx, which is a throat swab,
Hmm.
or you take it from nasopharynx, which is a
Nose.
nasal swab. So
Hmm.
you go inside the nose, you touch your nasopharynx back there, and then you take a swab from there. So oropharynx as in the swab has sensitivity of just 33.3%. So and nasopharynx has a sensitivity of 66.6%. So nobody is like 100%. Nobody, so if it comes negative, you're just 33.3% sure that it is negative. You still have a 66.6% chance that it is going to be positive. So every patient was tested negative and we were sending home. We have always advised that stay isolated at home for at least next 15 days. Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance that he's absolutely negative because you're taking a throat swab
Hmm.
or nasal swab, and maybe in that area the virus is not there, or you missed out on the virus somewhere. So yeah, so we've always advised patient to stay at home, stay isolated at home for the next 15 days, and then you can come in contact with your near and dear ones.
Okay. Sure.
So that is always there.
And so let's say आपकी 8 से
So
2
rather
shift
than false positive, I would say I'm worried about.
false negative. I wanted to know, जैसे 8 से 2 आपकी shift होती थी, then what would you do after that? उसके बाद से आप I'm supposing आप on call तो होते ही होगे कि कुछ
So
और आ गया तो.
huh. So no, so we were divided into weeks, as in BMC people, BMC residents from Nair Hospital, KM Hospital, and Sion Hospital. They were divided into weeks. So 1 week you have to work, and 1 week you're quarantined.
Oh,
And so
that makes sense.
what used to happen, because see, you're exposed, you're the only person who are exposed to the patient for entire 6 hours. And so what if one of you is positive, so you don't want to spread it to other people. So one
Hmm.
week compulsory quarantine, this was a rule by government
Hmm.
itself. So initially it was, yes, like that. And so if I have like 6 hours duty, it is enough to exhaust you for the day. So even if you have 6 hours duty, it is not really a 6 hours duty. It is, say, it will extend up to 7 hours easily. And once you come back, you just don't have to do anything but just go to the washroom, wash yourself off, just take away those hospital clothes and stuff like that, and then come to your room clean and nice and just sleep it off, eat and sleep it off. And initially, this food thing was such a problem for all the residents that all these tiffin services were shut, and there was the shops outside was shut, the delivery thing was shut, so there was no food facility except when we had food boxes, which was generously donated by Tata services. So we used to get Tata boxes. Like, had it not been there, I don't know how we would have survived, because everything was shut, and only we were the people who were functioning. And we don't even stay at home that है कुछ बचा तो निकाल के खा लिया, ऐसे कुछ भी नहीं था. And even if few people who used to stay at home, they could not go back there, because you cannot take a risk of transferring it to your near and dear ones. So even I did not go home for 6 months. So last I'd gone home in February, and then I did not go home. Although my parents are also into all this and doing COVID work, but you just don't want to be the reason that they have some symptoms.
Hmm.
It is very scary. So yeah. Yeah, so the food was taken care by this Taj Sats and all. And so we were given this individual boxes, and it was quite a decent food. Basically, you just want to eat something after you're done, after you're so exhausted, and just sleep it off. and before you get up, you know it's already night, and then you'll sleep again, and then there's another duty. And if you have afternoon duty, you'll just oversleep for the entire, because it was just not possible to do anything else. You're just exhausted after working so much, and especially in summers, it used to just drain you off emotionally also, physically also, and you know, mentally also. So yeah, so nothing else you do in that duty week. Later on, everybody got acclimatized to it. In fact, I've had my seniors who are exam going, so they have their post graduation exam, which is a big deal, and they were made to work till just 25 to 25 days to 1 month before their exam. And then of course their exam got delayed and delayed and delayed, and finally they I think today was the last paper or something. So yeah, so they are done with their exams. But
Mm-hmm.
so for them, it used to be more chaotic, because you have to come back, you have to study for your post graduation exam, and then you have to go for duty the another day. I don't know how they managed it, because it was really difficult for us. At least we have to come back and sleep and go next day. So the week which we used to get, quarantine week, it was really a bliss. Except in that week, for all the residents who are in particular specialty,
Mm-hmm.
have to be on call for one particular day or two particular days,
Mm-hmm.
because if sorry every patient will have so every ward will have different patients. Now
Mm-hmm.
there will be a patient in the ward who will be admitted, of course in medicine setup, but he will have some surgical emergency, or he will have some other specialty emergency which is needed to
Mm-hmm.
be attended. So for that, we were allotted as on call. So one particular day one. So surgical people usually take care of the dressings of the patients. So of course there are so many old patients with diabetic wounds, so that were to be attended by us. And other surgical emergencies, like
Mm-hmm.
if anyone has any pain in abdomen or something related to the emergency surgery, or some abscess or something, that were to be attended by us. So yeah, so we were divided, and we were on call on a particular day. Even during quarantine we have worked as well.
Mm-hmm.
But quarantine used to be a time which, after that 24-hour on call, you have time for yourself. So yeah.
Okay.
So because initially, because we are used to working for 72 hours straight in normal times. So normal times may our emergency duty is 24 hours, then comes our post emerge, which gives us 48 hours. And sometimes you don't have patients on the ward which is settled, so you have to just keep on working in 72 hours, and even after that you don't get good sleep. You will just get 4 to 5 hours of sleep, and you have to come back to the work. So the work doesn't end. So here at least we had like fixed hours of timing, and like fixed hours of working. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, so that helped us. And then it was like we really had time for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And
And in that also, of course, we have stayed isolated, just in the fear that what if I have symptoms, what if I have fever right now, or I'm having body ache, what if it is one of the symptoms, so I should not meet people and should not transfer. So we have also done so many tests in these 4 months.
so how was जो आसपास के लोग थे, जो नॉर्मल लोग, हम जैसे नॉर्मल लोग, how was their reaction towards you guys? क्योंकि I heard some places the doctors were also not treated well. So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
any experience on your side?
Uh, Fortunately, fortunately, the living conditions and food conditions were taken care by our administration,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so even right now I'm at my quarantine hotel, so I'm
Oh.
not at my hostel. So yes, this is my quarantine week going on, but because now our non-COVID services have been started, my week is really busy. So I've just got like 1 day free, and then from tomorrow again I'll be working. So yeah, so they had taken such, and of course the not just BMC had allotted particular hotels for people, for all the residents, because you cannot stay in the hostel and
Mm.
you cannot use common washrooms
Mm.
and all. Uh, and there were cases who were positive in the hostel also. So the hostel rooms were sealed and all. That particular hostel room was sealed and stuff like that. So they had to give allocate us a particular hotel. And yes, we were staying. We were taken good care of. And of course, uh, Tata had given all their hotels to the resident doctors, dedicated rooms for resident doctors. And yes, so fortunately, I did not have any such experience. In fact, I've had other experience, like if I'm a doctor and I had to travel at night somewhere. So when I had duty at Seven Hills, I
Mm-hmm.
used to have on call at Nair on in my quarantine week. So I had to come back and forth and things like that. So if I had to travel and there used to be any taxi driver or something, I would catch a taxi, and they used to be really generous and really nice to us. So yeah, so I've had good experience in fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good to hear actually. So, so
Yeah, but yeah, we have all read the stories where doctors were not treated well. Yes,
huh. So, so,
that is.
so if you were to like summarize the last 3-4 months, like this is the kind of time जो मतलब शायद ये फिर से आएगा और like this once in a century बोलते हैं ना कि once in a century disease आते हैं ऐसे
आना नहीं
आना नहीं
चाहिए
चाहिए.
इसके बाद because you as much as it has changed people's perspective, have it has really given you a chance of knowing things and knowing how you've been just working, and so many people have also lost their near and dear ones. So I don't think anyone would have liked these 3 or 4 months, because so imagine, so someone is admitted in the hospital, someone really near and dear to you, and suddenly news comes that doctor calls you up and tells that the patient is not doing well, and then you're just worried. And then the other day again the doctor calls you and tell you he's again gotten worsen, and the other day the doctor calls you and probably declares that he's no more, and then you don't even get to see that particular person of yours. And the body is dispatched to the mortuary, and disposed in cemetery, and all on their own. So you are not going to see that person ever once he's sent to the hospital, if things don't go right. So this is just like you've lifted a person, abducted him, and then that is it. That was the last time you saw that person. So these 3 months have not been that good for so many people at so many different levels. Yeah. So this time should definitely not. And people are not used to this. People are not used to staying inside, and not for so long. And I would say not just COVID positive patients, but the ones who are at home, who are safe and sound, have also been psychologically affected. Nobody wants to stay at home, and we've had I've had relatives also, and I've had friends and colleagues also calling me up and crying on the phone that when is it going to end? We are frustrated. We don't want to stay inside. We just want to breathe and go out and stuff like that. So fortunately right now the things have become a bit, the strings are a bit loose right now, so it's better. But it has really affected people on so many different levels. So yeah, I really hope it shouldn't come again. And the most important thing in these 3 months was when people cooperate with you, when you just feel good when even the poorest of the person, or on the streets are also wearing masks and themselves, just so at least there's some kind of awareness. If they will contribute in some or the other small way, so you feel just good to see that people are following the instructions, they are aware of this. So that just gives you a good hope that yeah.
ठीक है. Yeah, let's hope everything goes well in the coming months as well.
Yes.
चीज़ें improve तो हो रही हैं.
Mm.
और I think thank you for doing this. Actually काफ़ी कुछ दिल से बात करी आपने, अच्छा लगा बहुत. और
Thank you
I
for
hope
having me.
like yeah, I hope कि आगे things go fine. And yeah, thank you also for हम नॉर्मीज की तरफ से कि आप इतना इतना कर रहे हो.
No, I should be the one thanking you for following the instructions and, you know, staying by the rules. So, yeah.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bunny.